everybody! This is Brian Hogue. Welcome to Chiller Night Live. Well, I'm back again. Last week I wasn't here because it was Halloween and I was at the store last week. So good to be back. Good to be back here. We'll be going over, Stephanie says, hey y'all. Hey Stephanie, thanks for joining us. We'll be going over, if you're new here, you're just catching this for the first time, we'll go over the Chiller Night Theater schedule that plays every Saturday night on Stream TV. And we'll put that schedule up throughout the night. And we just talk about all things horror, science fiction, paranormal, pretty much anything under that chiller umbrella that you throw at me. You give me a topic, we'll make a show out of it, one way or the other. PBR has given me some waving emojis there, so thank you for joining us. Victor says hello, Brian. Hey Victor, thanks for joining us. Hope everybody had a good Halloween. I did, and I hope you did too. Let's see. And tonight I'll be showing pictures of Jack Shadow's House of Terror. Some of the pictures from the haunted house that kept me pretty busy. I'd like to say it kept me busy in October, which it did. However, it kept me busy a lot longer than just October. From like May is when the physical building of it started. So yeah, I'm glad that's up. I'm glad it came and went and it went very well, and I'm very happy about that. I'll be putting some pictures up about that throughout the duration of the show. Lasercorn says, "Hey peeps, hey Laser, thanks for joining us." And also, if SBC comes on here tonight, he sent me a video. I had mentioned several shows ago, back in October, about sharing your Halloween costumes or decorations. He sent me a video here, so I was going to play that, showing some of his decorations over in Germany that he had set up. Gary says, the lady who was in control of the spider was entertaining, I take it? Entertaining? Yes. Gee, that lady, she's a wonderful lady. It happens to be my wife. Yes. Stephanie says, yeah, she had a lot of fun with that. She really had a lot of fun with that. Stephanie says, I did, in fact. I watched a TCM Halloween marathon and Halloween 78 on Halloween night. Nice. Al says, hi everyone. Hey Al, thanks for joining us. PBR says, I came in second place in my costume contest. Oh, cool. Do you have any pictures of it? You should send me a picture of it. I'll put it up. Al says, how's everyone's Halloween? Yeah, that's what I was asking. I was just wondering how everyone, what all you guys did. Did you do anything, or were you passing out Halloween candy to the kids? And if so, did you get a lot? Get a lot of trick-or-treaters? Roger says, good evening, everyone. Hey, Roger, thanks for joining us. Stephanie says, PBR Street Gang, congrats. Yes. Gary says, entertaining. Yes, that's what I figured. John says, now that over our sugar rush from last week and our blood sugar levels are normal, it's time again for our favorite rush. That dose does not promote tooth decay. All right. Yeah, we like you're a relatively healthy show to watch. This is Crozak the Grand, and it's time for Chiller Night Live. And now here's our host, Brian Hogue. Thank you, as always, Crozak the Grand. And PBR says, I have a link. Can I send it to you? You can. I'm not sure if I'm able to take that, translate that into something I can show tonight, but you're welcome to try. I don't know if you send it directly to my email. I could probably try to get it on from there onto the screen. SBC says, hello everyone. I almost missed here in Germany. The clocks have already been changed to wintertime. Yeah, SBC, I was just mentioning you about a minute ago. I was just bringing up the fact that you had sent me a video of your decorations. Is that okay if I show the decorations that you sent? It's about a minute long or something like that, a minute and a half. But if you're okay with that, I'll show your Halloween decorations, what you had up. If not, that's totally cool. Victor says, passed out candy, but just stayed home. Sometimes that can be nice. Pittsburgh Gold Order says, how are you tonight? We are doing well. Hope you're doing as well as well. Gary says, was prepared to have 70 kids stop by, but only saw about 40. Lots of leftover candy. Yeah. I know what that's like. Yeah. Well, that does happen. That does happen. Sometimes you just got a bad night, maybe bad weather, or I don't know. I know when I was growing up, it was always on trick-or-treat night. It was always on Halloween night, the trick-or-treating. And it was like, I don't know, now they have it from like 6 till, no, 4 to 6. Like 4 to 6 on a weekday. No, that's not true. They had it on Saturday. Okay, because I was thinking, like, if they did it on a weekday, how would that be? But I've seen that in the area around here. I'm like, how would a parent get home from work, and take their kid out at that time? I have seen those hours. I guess here it was on Saturday. It was on Saturday the 28th. That's why Ava and I couldn't participate like we normally do. We normally make a big to-do about it. We normally dress in costumes and hand out candy, but we were at the store. I had an escape room booking. I had and that lasted till 2:30. Reset the room from 3 to 5. I had no scare. Kids coming into the haunted house, giving tours through the haunted house, and then from 5 until 7, we had a birthday party for our niece, and then from 7 till 10, we had the regular haunted house hours. So we were very busy that day. SBC says, sure, you can show it. All right, very cool. I will do that. I don't believe there's any sound, so we can talk over it. I will play that. Let me put the schedule up, and then as soon as I'm done with that, I'm going to put SBC's Halloween decorations up. So we'll see what he had going on there, and his little slice of the world there in Germany. And but this Saturday night, Saturday, November 11th, on Stream TV at 8 o'clock, Chiller Night Live, the pre-show. This becomes magically transferred into the pre-show. Well, what you're watching now is Chiller Night Live, and then it becomes, as stated, the pre-show on Saturdays. So, and if you're new here, if you're watching this on Saturday, wondering how you can join us here while we're doing the show live, we do this every Tuesday night. The show is done live every Tuesday night at same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, online, same way, on YouTube, on Chiller Night channel, and on Facebook. I'll give you those Facebook pages when we get back to my screen. 9 o'clock, the movie's Plan 9 from Outer Space. Then at 10:30, Jesse James meets Frankenstein's daughter. And at 12:05 a.m., the movie is The Ghost. And at 1:55, the movie is Terror Creatures from the Grave. You'll notice that the movies are not necessarily on hour or half-hour increments. At least the last two examples aren't. And that's because these movies play back-to-back. That's right, folks. You get back-to-back Jack Shadow, horror, chiller. So, yeah, 4 movies and 1 pre-show. Pretty good deal, all in all. If you're looking for something spooky to watch on Saturday nights, we've got just the thing for you. And now I'm going to put up SBC's video here. Like I said, I don't think there's any sound to it. If you can hear something, let me know. But I don't think there is. It's kind of a neat effect going on inside the windows there. The black cats and the bats. Little strobe light there. Take a little walk down to the next window there. It's kind of a neat little thing there on the like the little ball with the little electro looking things in it. Spooky tree and jack-o'-lantern. I like the witch in the background. That's kind of cool. Gary says it's Reno. Most kids went to Franklin instead. Oh, okay, okay. Stephanie says I think we almost had snow on Halloween in October in Ohio. Oh yeah, it did snow here. It snowed on it snowed Halloween night, and then there was snow on the ground on November 1st. So that was cool. We saw SBC's Halloween decorations there, so that's pretty cool. Thank you for sharing that with us. Stephanie says, I've seen Plan 9 from Outer Space many times. It's always a fun one. Paul says, hey there, family, how are you? And Ava, give her a hug, tell her I love her, just saw the lineup. All right, very cool. Thank you for joining us, Paul. PBR says, the only reason I didn't win is because I didn't feel comfortable voting for myself. Ah, that would have been that would have pushed you over, huh? Yeah. All right. Well, maybe next year vote for yourself. Yeah, you never know. Al says, back-to-back Jack. Back-to-back Jack. I like that. Back-to-back Jack. SBC's giving me a thumbs up. Yeah, that was cool. I like seeing that. I like seeing the Halloween decorations. Pittsburgh Ghoul Order says, I like the plasma ball in this window. I have one of those. Yeah, I thought that was cool. I didn't know how to describe it necessarily, but that's a little bit more articulate than what I was doing. The electric ball thing, you know. Paul says, how was everyone's Halloween? I passed out 4 Loco. The kids came back for more. Well, I think everybody seemed to have a pretty decent time, it seems. Pretty good time. Al says, Plan 9, best movie ever. PBR says, did you see my timestamp I gave you? No. On here? On this? Or did you email me something? You know, this is kind of what did you do? What did you do? No, did you email me something? If so, I'll go back and look. The timestamp I gave you. I don't know. Something sounds vaguely familiar about that, but Al says Plan 9 best movie ever. Jack Shadow seems to think so. If you watch that episode, you know that he just thinks that's a masterpiece. I just figured it's so easy to make fun of the movie. I figured I'd take it in another direction and have Jack Shadow love that as a cinematic masterpiece. SBC says, I built most of it myself. You could hardly buy anything here. Oh yeah, that's what you were saying. You said it was hard to get decorations. I wonder why that is. You think, I don't know. I would think like in Germany and in Europe, maybe. I don't know. I've been over in England, for a couple Halloweens, but not. I visited Germany and a lot of other countries in Europe, but not around Halloween time. So, let's see. Yes, I'm here. Thanks, Stephanie. Daniel says, "Sup, Brian? Hey, Daniel. Thanks for joining us. I'll be showing some pictures of the haunted house later on. Some of them, anyway. I got like 7 of them that I have. It's in my comment if you scroll back up, PBR says. All right, let me look. I see it says, I have a link. Can I send it to you? Was it before or after that? Let's see. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it. No, I don't see it. Yes. It's in my comment if you scroll back up. and I missed it, and I missed it a couple times apparently because I scrolled up and down. I'm missing it. I'm missing it. I'm sorry. Um, yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it on here. I don't see it on here. What is it to what's it in reference to? Is it about your costume? Or Paul says Manos is still the best. I don't know about that, Paul. Kevin says had mate Kevin here. Hey Kevin, thanks for joining us. How are things over across the ocean there in your neck of the woods? We're talking to SBC, who's in Germany, not too far away from you. You should check out the Horror Theater Radio, playing old-time horror radio shows 24/7. That sounds cool. Sounds pretty neat. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Hope you're having a good night. Paul says, I need to start a 12-step recovery group for Manos, admitting that as my first step. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yes, it's a serious problem here you have. All right, so, hey, today is November 7th, and it is the day that Dwight Fry passed away. Now listen to this, November 7th, 1943. He was 44 years old. He's only 44. So, obviously, a lot of horror fans know Dwight Fry, of course, as a character actor who's been in like the big Universal monster movies as interesting characters like Renfield, Fritz, the Igor character. He based the Igor character off of for Dr. Frankenstein's assistant. The first one, anyways, before we actually see Igor in the other movies. Yeah, Renfield and Dracula, the grave robber guy and the Bride of Frankenstein, just all kinds of the vampire bat. He was in that as the weird local weird guy in the village who loved bats. That one I watched just recently because I was actually trying to get that one put together for a Halloween special. I was going to play that one, and so I didn't have time, unfortunately, with everything that was going on in October between the haunted house and the escape rooms. I just didn't have time, unfortunately. Wish I did. Daniel says our company had our Halloween contest. On Halloween, I dressed up as my zombie character and won spookiest costume. Oh, is that right? Ah, cool. All right. Paul says he loves us. He loves you guys. And Stephanie says, we all love you too, Paul. Ah, all right. Very cool. And also, 1 year... Oh, SBC says, the old people don't like Halloween because it comes from America, right? They're still angry because they lost the war. Oh! Can't we just get along? And the others think it's blasphemy. I understand that. I mean, I was kind of going over that a couple weeks ago. We were talking about this, and it depends how you look at it. I was the only one who decorated for Halloween, SBC says. Is that right? Wow! Wow. That is something. Yeah, it is. A lot of it is. I guess I can take Dwight Fry's picture down right now. Yeah, I guess it depends on if you're around. What was there was a movie. Is it Tales of Halloween or something? It was something that came on Netflix like several years ago, probably about 4 or 5 years ago. Maybe even a little more recent than that, but it was an anthology, and it had a bunch of short stories. And one of the stories was he had the traditionalist, the old conservative Halloween lover, and then you had the new guys that are all goth and heavy metal, and it's just like you had the two, diametrically opposite of Halloween, and they love the same holiday. They were very against each other on how they were setting up, kind of a comedic look of it. But I'd have to go with the more very old school traditionalist. I don't. When I look at Halloween, I just look at it as I do with all the holidays. Growing up, I just loved the holidays. Had such a good time. My parents always made that very fun. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, Halloween. Everything was always a big deal. It seemed, and with me, I told you my viewpoint on this and all things horror basically are Frankenstein, jack-o'-lanterns, scarecrows, that type of thing. The witch idea to me is the old green Halloween witch. I don't delve into any dark these dark stuff. I don't know, but I can see where people would view it that way. I can see it where they would view it like I do. Um, so Pittsburgh Ghoul Order says, I went on a Halloween hike with some friends of mine. It was cold, but we hiked many trails in the Pennsylvania forest. Yeah, that was a cold day because, like I was telling the viewers earlier, it actually snowed that night. It snowed Halloween night here. I'm less than an hour north of Pittsburgh, so I'm not too far from you. Um, Kevin says Halloween came from Ireland, something to do with All Souls, All Saints Day, and the time when our world is close to the other side. Right. A lot of those old deep rooted ideas came from Ireland, and then the idea of the trick or treating, the Halloween trick or treating. Um, the tradition of trick or treating came from America. Although some of the ideas, depending on who you listen to, were kind of derived from, like the Druids, way back, going from door to door. I don't know. I'm not a historian, but I like Halloween. Um, Paul says then All Souls Day was Catholic, I think. Yeah, yeah, because the Catholics were they, instead of doing away with all the pagan holidays at that time, they incorporated them into the Catholic Church. Again, I'm not a historian. I'm not a movie historian. I'm not a religious historian or a holiday historian. But these are little bits and pieces I do, I recall over the years, seeing this stuff. Um, Daniel says, I think Halloween came from Mexico, Day of the Dead. Now that's actually a different holiday, although there is Day of the Dead. You are right there. Um, Paul says it's all pagan, I think. Well, a lot of like Christmas, he says. Well, a lot of it was. A lot of those ideas and traditions do come from the pagan part of it. So here's my viewpoint on it is how's that if I grow up with these things, and I'm not saying you have to think like I do and believe like I do and grow up like I do. I don't care about that. But what I'm saying is, like, I know how I look at things, and if somebody could say something, you could look up the origin of the Christmas tree and tell me why that shouldn't be practiced today. And I would say, you know what? That's all well and good. That might have been the origin and how it sprang up into existence. However, since I've been alive, the Christmas tree has represented something magical and loving, and the Christmas holiday. So whatever it was at one point, that wasn't how I was raised and, know it to be, and that's not part of my reality of that or my existence of it. So no, I look at it as something good and pure and wholesome, and Halloween in many ways is the same way with me. And like, I don't know, if you want to look at it in a different way, by all means go to. It's a free country. I mean, at least that's what they're telling us anymore. So do as you will and just have a good time. My thing is, do it. What rocks your boat as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. Stephanie says, my mom dressed up as Wicked Witch from Wizard of Oz one time with green makeup. Oh, that's cool. She have any like fake nose or anything to go with it? Like, how involved in that did she get? See, but that with the Wicked Witch of the West from the Wizard of Oz is was it the West? I guess it was West. Is that the mean one? I get the East and the West, but the green one, you know, of course, that's that kind of traditional Halloween witch, you know. SBC says, I was dressed up as a zombie killer clown, but since I didn't want to scare the little children, I took off the mask while handing out sweets. So I look at a homeless person. I look like a homeless person with a clown wig. Paul says, what exactly does pagan mean? I can't sit here and give you the definition word for word, but I can tell you it's basically a secular origin of a pagan, of human. It's not like a religious. The foundation for the religious is the spiritual aspect of it. The pagan would be a secular, human aspect of it. And if anybody has a more a better definition than that, feel free to share it. John says, I watched a 50s triple feature, them, Tarantula, and the giant Gila monster on my Twitch channel. It was like being at the drive-in, but without the car and the other problems that come along at the drive-in. Oh, man, that would have been fun. Yeah. That would have been really cool. Paul says, anyone familiar with the Black Lodge and the White Lodge, Mason, or Illuminati? I know a little bit about that. But I'll give folks a chance to... Pittsburgh says, pagan means country dweller. It comes from the Latin word paganus. All right. Paganus. Stephanie says she didn't have the nose, but she had the black dress costume and witch hat. That's cool. Very cool. That's like the classic looking witch right there. Oh, did I tell you that 1 year ago? It was on, now today's the 7th. If you're watching this on Saturday night, that's obviously not the case. But those watching this live, today is Tuesday, November 7th, and tomorrow will be the 8th. That's just how it goes, all right? But last year on the 8th of November is when I had my rotary cuff surgery. So that was a year ago. And it's weird to think that it's coming up on that already. It's kind of strange, you know. I remember the day that we got back from surgery. I went down to the Pittsburgh area to get it done, Wexford, and I went out looking. Ava and I we went out looking for property that day. We were actually looking to see about possibly buying a piece of land. It was pretty cool. I remember that because I was still under, you know, I still had the drugs, you know, like making my arm all numb. My arm was in a sling, and I was on a four-wheeler with the owner of the property, one of the owners, and they were taking me all around because it was like 80 acres of land, you know, and it was like we were interested in. It would have been cool because a lot of it was farmland, you know, you know, a lot of area for hunting, and I just thought it would be so cool because. You know, you could ranch the land, you could farm it, you could have, you know, folks come in and farm that, and there was also horse stables. That would have been so cool. The one thing that I didn't like about it, well, two things. One was it wasn't as flat as I would have liked to have seen. Could have lived with that, could have dealt with that, but the one thing that really was the deal breaker for me was the fact that it was a shared driveway to get to it. And when I saw that, I was like, that was what did it. Because like, and the person was like, oh, there, everybody who shares that is like super nice. Like that might be, but no, no, because that person might not always be there, and the next homeowners might be a lot different. So, anyways, but I'm saying that. I guess that was a quite lengthy way of saying that. Yeah, last year, tomorrow, 1 year ago, it was when I had my surgery. Let's see. SBC says, in Bavaria, in the old days, the Christmas tree was hung from the ceiling. Ah, that's cool. I didn't know that. Paul says, are you from Bavaria? And he's asking SBC that. Well, while that's being... Oh, it's 8:30. I'm going to put the schedule up already again here. Look at that. Boy, this hour is just flying by. This Saturday, November 11th on Stream TV. You can watch it at streammedia.tv. Here we go. Here's our Chiller Night television lineup. 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Chiller Night Live pre-show. That's what we're watching right now. 9 o'clock, the movie is Plan 9 from Outer Space. A favorite of Jack Shadow's, you'll see if you haven't already. 10:30, the movie is Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter. And then at 12:05 a.m., the movie is The Ghost with Barbara Steele, of course. And that was Jack Shadow's retirement episode last October. And then 1:55 a.m., the movie is Terror Creatures from the Grave. Yeah, The Ghost was the last Chiller Night Theater episode. So, SBC says, yes, Paul. He's from Bavaria, he says. And he has a little mug of beer there. All right. Cool. Yeah, the whole thing about that land, that property and stuff, I would have loved to have lived that. Could have had cattle on there. Could have had farming going on there. Could have had the horse stables. I would have given up anything to have done that, except for the one thing that I didn't like is that shared driveway thing. I will not ever do that. I don't care if the land seems like paradise to me. I will not ever do that. There's so many ways to become, involved in disputes there, and it's just like, man. All right, haunted house picks. All right, let's see. This is from Jack Shadow's House of Terror. Obviously, we just finished that up in October, so here's one of the pictures. That's a nice, pleasant little picture there. All right. And there's another one. That was pretty cool. And there's some clowns. SBC mentions about some clowns. There's some clowns right there. There's another funky looking room there. Some poor unfortunate souls. And a rather dapper, creepy looking creature there. A werewolf. One of my favorite Halloween monsters is a werewolf. And a creepy ventriloquist doll. So that was kind of a cool room too. And we did all that at Jack Shadow's House of Terror. That was all in here's my plug for my store, the Chiller Night Escape Experience, horror-themed escape room store at the Cranberry Mall in Venango County, Pennsylvania. If you want to book a horror-themed escape room, right now I have Zombie Outbreak. That is available for booking. You can just call 814-209-8214. You can see the number there, 814-209-8214. Or you can just go to chillernight.com and book it right online, by golly. And the one I'm working on right now is The Witching Hour. It says book now. You can't. Aha! No, but hopefully, hopefully we will get back to that soon and have that open to the public. The thing that slowed me down is the whole thing with my shoulder surgery last year, because until like June or July, I couldn't. I still having problems lifting things, and I didn't have my strength back yet. Stephanie says, I had an October online book club before Halloween. I read Stephen King's Fairy Tale, and I actually loved it. Stephen King's Fairy Tale. I've never heard of that one. Huh. Is it like modern day stories, or are they like kind of the Brothers Grimm type of setting? Stephen King's Fairy Tale. And is it just one story, or does he have like short stories in there? I'm kind of curious. I've never heard of that. Al says, wow, Jack has been retired a year already. Yeah, how about that? Now he's just showing up in the haunted house. I want to make him kind of a novelty in a way, that where he is just a, once a year type of character. Paul says, Lawrence Fishburne. What? Was on Coast to Coast last night. Black Lodge and White Lodge was on Coast to Coast AM last night. All right. About the Masons, Illuminati, and all that. Stephanie says, that doll looks like the one from Goosebumps. Yeah, it is. Slappy. Dale says, oh, we called him something else, though, in ours. Dale says, hello. Hey, Dale, thanks for joining us. How have you been? Wow, Dale, I was just, not too long ago, I was talking about the old days of the watch parties, and really wishing that they had brought that back. I don't know why Facebook ever, maybe it's just too much for them to handle. I don't know, but that was fun. SBC says, where is Bonehead? I don't know. We're missing Bonehead. We're missing Tom. We're missing Renee. We're missing, who knows? Okay. Stephanie says, Fairy Tale is one long modern fantasy story. Oh, okay. Now, is that you said you read Stephen King's Fairy Tale? Is that like one of his newer stories, I take it? I don't know. It might not be. I'm not I'm by no means a Stephen King, fan, I guess. I mean, as far as reading the books, I've seen movies of his that I've enjoyed, but I cannot say that I've sat and read his books. I haven't. So I don't know if that's a new one or what. Hey, there's Patty Sylvain. Hi, you guys. Hand, pink waving. Oh, must have been an emoji insert there. Hey, Patty, thanks for joining us. Stephanie says, SBC is right. Where is he? Oh, yeah, for Bonehead, yeah. I don't know. Maybe he didn't know it was on tonight, because I missed last week because of Halloween. But I announced that beforehand, so, I mean, hopefully, Stephanie says, oh, dang, we're missing Tom and Renee. Yeah. Paul says, Event Horizon with Lawrence Fishburne going into the engineering section of the ship. Oh, okay, I remember that movie. I like that movie. I thought that was pretty freaky. Let's see, Dale says, doing good, wishing there was a way we could make the old watch parties happen again. I have a list I would love to showcase. How have you been? I've been doing really well, and it seems like everyone here is doing pretty good. I do miss that. SBC says, we haven't seen Manos in a long time. Do you feel fit enough for it, Paul? Paul, could you handle watching Manos again? I'm sure he will immediately say, yes. Why, yes, I do. John says, during the Halloween weekend, a couple of radio stations were playing a number of old radio shows like Lights Out, The Shadow, and even the poems of Edgar Allan Poe and the original radio play of The War of the Worlds. A couple of you mentioned, I think Tom mentioned that was one of the things that he liked to do on on Halloween night. I don't know if that meant a like recent tradition, but yeah, that's a neat thing to do. Um, Stephanie says, Paul, I've seen the movie once, and that was enough for me. Yeah, it was a weird movie, wasn't it? Event Horizon. Patty says, isn't Event Horizon an attempt at making a Lovecraftian science fiction movie? That's, I never thought about that. It's bizarre enough to be a Lovecraft-like story, yeah. I can see that now. I never thought about that until you just mentioned it. Pittsburgh Ghoul Order says, I have to admit those watch parties were the best thing to happen to Facebook. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I was sitting there watching and oftentimes Dale was picking these movies, like the 80s horror movies, that were those in and of themselves are a lot of fun to watch. But then it was kind of neat to join up here and do that. Paul says, never enough Manos for Loco and brain surgery to go around. Well, all right. Now I know we played Manos last time in August. This is I always keep this on hand when I'm doing the show in case a request comes up. Because I don't like to play something if I played it within the last 6 months, but Manos we played. No, we didn't play that in August. We played The Brain That Wouldn't Die. That's right. That's what Paul had requested before he went to get his brain surgery. Is The Brain That Wouldn't Die. So, yeah, we haven't played Manos. Oh, what's this? We haven't played Manos since May 13th. Paul, I think we could probably do Manos. Not this week, of course, but maybe next week, maybe. Tom says, yeah, Event Horizon wasn't my cup of tea either. That was weird. It was just, I watched it one time. That was back shortly after it came out. It was on back when, in the days of Blockbuster Video. When, I went to get it on a video and just came back and watched it. I was like, oh, this is strange. This is a weird movie. Wasn't that Sam Neill? Wasn't he one of the other characters in that movie? And he picked some strange parts to play. I kind of like that when I see actors doing that, though. Really going after bizarre, challenging rules instead of doing the same thing over and over. Stephanie says, no offense, but Event Horizon was more half sci-fi, half grindhouse movie. Yeah, that's a interesting description. Paul says, I'm starting a 12-step recovery group for Manos. All right, well, I hope that goes well for you. Tom says, hello, SB. Oh, yeah, Tom slipped right in there. Okay, hey, thanks for joining us there, Tom. We were wondering just a little bit ago where you were. You and Renee's missing, Bonehead. Stephanie says, oh, Tom, thank heavens we were worried. Paul says, Dr. Jack is going to be the group leader next week. Works for me, brother. Is he? Well, it's good that he's getting around and not just, staying in the haunted house. I know he likes it there, though. SBC says, what did you all dress up for as Halloween? Well, I know that Daniel said that he was a zombie character, that the same one he was in the haunted house. So, and in SBC, you gave your description a little bit ago. And as far as me, I'm trying to find a picture. What? How do I not? Oh, okay. How do I was gonna say? How do I not? I looked a lot like that. You know, it's interesting. That's the original costume from 2005. And that's the one I wear when doing the haunted house. So that means that I like to be between 155 to 165, preferably like 160. I'll say comfortably at 160, 160 pounds when I play that character in that particular costume. I have another costume I wear, but when I'm doing the haunted house, I like to get at that weight to do that character in that particular costume. So Tom says Sam Neill is the only one I remember from that flick. Paul says he played the doctor. Tom's just been working late hours recently. Sorry. Speaking of late hours, it feels later than it was when it gets dark at like 5 or 4:30 or something. Victor says Event Horizon wasn't terrible. No, I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it was just bizarre, a little weird. But that's what they were apparently going for, so they pulled it off, whatever they were going for. Patty says, when I worked for a library, I named one of my files that wasn't to be altered, Event Horizon, knowing no one would open it. It worked. Oh yeah, yeah. It was creepy. It was a creepy, just a creepy feel to it. Paul says, one last time before the group stat. What? Starts. Oh, before the group starts. Patty says, only a few days to go. At this time, it was 9 p.m. Only a few days ago at this time, it was 9 p.m. Yeah, a lot lighter for a lot longer. It's such a drastic, it's like, I know it happens every year, but it's always such a shock. You know, it's when you first look out and you see it's going on 5 o'clock and it's nighttime. Like, what? Why are we doing this again? Oh well. But maybe there will be a day when it's not. I mean, is it something that's really needed? I've got to admit, I'm just kind of going along with the ride, and I'm not in the farming or whatnot, so I don't do. It doesn't. It's not where I have a strong opinion one way or the other. I just don't like seeing it get dark earlier. Paul says, I love you guys. Got to go for now. All right. Thanks for joining us, Paul. Victor says, I wanted to dress up as Jack Shadow, but couldn't find any costume pieces. I dressed up as another horror host named Grim Gory. He's a heavy metal monkey on Friday night. Oh, yeah? Stephanie says, take care, Paul. All right. Well, Paul's leaving us for tonight. SBC says, till next week, Paul. All right. And now, because I showed the haunted house pictures, I showed the escape experience, zombie outbreak, the upcoming witching hour, which will be the next one that I am currently working on. Here is the zombie escape room ad, which of course doesn't work the first few times I go to try it. Uh-oh, we might be having some problems here. Let me try it again. Let me go back to the webcam.
The outbreak? Book your escape room appointment to find out. Book online at chillernight.com.
What the heck was that?
Chiller Night Escape Experience presents Zombie Outbreak Escape Room. You and your team of scientists are sent to inspect a top-secret laboratory in a hidden military bunker. Sinister experiments have resulted in reanimating the dead. The facility is now swarming with the living dead, and you have 1 hour to escape or be overrun by zombies. Can you survive a zombie outbreak? Book your escape room appointment to find out. Book online at chillernight.com or call 814-209-8214. Gift certificates available at the store counter.
All right, there you have it. You know, people didn't do well with that in October. I mean, not many people. Less than half of the people. And the first half of the month, nobody was making it through. So, you know, if you live in the area, you live around Venango County, Pennsylvania, or even in the surrounding counties, make a trip out. I think you'll like it, be worth it, and you'll have an hour to see if you can survive the zombie outbreak. Petty says, there has been political talk about abolishing daylight savings, especially since not every state does it. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm not knowledgeable enough about it. Like I said, if it was something to where my livelihood depended on it, then I would have a strong opinion on it. But I guess I'm like probably most people where, you know, there's not a lot of people who that I don't know. I can't even say that because I don't know. I can't make that claim that there's not a lot of people that affects. I don't know that. So, but I would love to see the daylight last longer. That's all. Stephanie says, Brian, I think you got a ghost. Yeah, I got some gremlins in my equipment here, apparently. So, I don't know what that's about. You know, I can sit here. Now, watch this. I'm not gonna play it again, but if I hit this right now, will it work?
Chiller Night Escape Experience presents Zombie.
There he goes. I don't know. I can sit here and hit that thing 3 or 4 times. I don't know. There's apparently no rhyme or reason. Nothing I can think of. But John says, question. Who's going to see the horror movie Thanksgiving? Oh, yeah, I remember seeing the trailer for that. Fun fact, Eli Roth, the director of this movie, is basically bringing this mock trailer called Thanksgiving to reality. I mean, isn't it a real movie? It looked like it was a real movie with the, I forget the killer name, but they're wearing a mask. But that looks like it's coming out. But I don't know. I always have planned to go to the theater. I don't go to the theater anymore for anything, it seems. The last thing I went to see at the theater, what was it? The Sound of Freedom. I did see that. Ava and I went and saw that. But before that, and that was this summer. But before that, I haven't seen a movie. It had been several years. So, SPC says, speaking of Gremlins, it'd be nice if they made a new movie. Yeah, they're remaking everything else, relaunching it or continuing stuff from years ago. Why not the Gremlins? I'm surprised that they didn't ever do a follow-up to E.T. Now I'm thinking of Gremlins and E.T. Al says, so what you're saying, Brian, is that the zombies ate well in October. Oh, yes, they had quite numerous feasts. Patty says, they either ate well or multiplied. Yeah, I think they kind of did both. SPC says, or Stephanie says, SPC, I like that idea. I've seen the first 2. About the Gremlins, yeah. Victor says, I want to see Godzilla -1 at the theater. Ah, that's right. That's been mentioned here several times about Godzilla coming up. When is that coming up? I know it's soon. Pittsburgh Rule Order says, the last thing I saw on the big screen was There's Always Vanilla at Living Dead Weekend last month. Oh yeah, see, I haven't been to the theater. What was the last thing I saw before The Sound of Freedom was? I mean, I couldn't tell you. Black Panther, maybe. Rogue One. I mean, I really don't know. I'd have to look and see what years those came out. I remember since moving here, I saw in the last 8 years. It'll be 8 years this month. I moved here in this area, and unfortunately, I saw The Last Jedi. Yeah, I saw Rogue One, I saw Black Panther, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy, think I just haven't seen that many movies. I just haven't seen that many. Patty says the second one was a spoof on all forms of entertainment media and Trump, known as Clamp Towers. What was the second one? I missed what you're referring to. SBC says we have to do a long pre-show one day, like a few hours nonstop until we all fall asleep. I'd be up for something like that. I really would. That'd be, I don't know, if you guys, if you want to see this, I don't know. John says the first trailer for Thanksgiving was a part of the mock trailers that was part of the Grindhouse movies. Oh, is that right? I didn't remember that. Okay. I did not remember that. Stephanie says, by the way, does anybody know to do a watch party on Facebook? I wish we did, Stephanie. I don't think that that's still something you can do on Facebook. In fact, at least that's why we stopped doing it several years ago, because back when we first started the Chiller Night Facebook group, that was a big part of why we started that group, a private group, was to do the watch parties. And then, like a couple years ago, when was it? Back in 2020, maybe. I guess a little more than a couple years ago. But they stopped doing away with the watch parties. I wish they'd bring that back. Patty says Gremlins 2 had clamp towers. Okay, I'm not familiar with that. I don't even know if I must have seen Gremlins 2, but I don't remember anything like that. I don't remember enough about it. I remember the first movie, even though I only saw the first movie one time. I have not seen these movies. Even E.T. Now I've seen that one, I think, twice. I saw it once at the theater, like a lot of these. And then I think over the years oh, hey, it is 8:58. We were coming up on, we got a couple minutes left. But before we go, I am going to put the schedule back up. This Saturday, November 11th, this is your Chiller Night television schedule that will be airing on Stream TV, or streaming on Stream TV, I should say. 8 p.m., Chiller Night Live pre-show. That's what you're watching right now. And then at 9 p.m., the movie is the feature movie of the week. Dun, dun, dun. Is Plan 9 from Outer Space. Then at 10:30, the movie is Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter. If you want to see Jack Shadow host a movie in a cowboy hat and wearing a holster and a gun, by golly, that's the movie you want to watch. And then at 12:05 a.m., the movie is The Ghost with Barbara Steele. That was the very last Chiller Night Theater that we did, and that was back in October 2022. And then at 1:55 in the morning, the movie is Terror Creatures from the Grave. There is your lineup. Watch that at streammedia.tv. And also, check out chillernight.com at the bottom of the page there. If you haven't checked out that website, check it out. Can't hurt. So, Stephanie says, take care, y'all. All right, you too, Stephanie. Patty says, stay safe, everyone. Have to go back to work at the Walmart Christmas sales. Okay, it's that time, huh? Tom says, okay, ghouls, hope to be on earlier next week to help cause more mayhem. All right, Tom, we'll look forward to that. And John says, this has been the Chiller Night pre-show with Brian Hogue. This is Crozak the Grand, reminding you to remember our veterans this weekend. Absolutely, definitely. Thank you, John. Until next time, stay chilled and keep thrilled. Al says, good night, everyone. See you next week. And SBC says, I'll see you all next week. Stay healthy and watch a lot of old horror movies. Always very good advice there. So, all right, folks. Thank you for joining me and each other. Have a good night. Have a good chiller night. And we'll see you next week.